Okay, we'll talk about it. We've got a priority system. We've got a communication system. And I'm going to explain that to you. You know, obviously there's all kinds of variables. What if this happens? And we got wind. And let me mention so I don't forget, when we get wind, which changes, you know, when the ball leaves the bat, okay, we think it's going to end up in a certain spot, and then the wind influences that. So we're going to ask you to call the ball definitively and loud, and we're going to have a take it call. How would you think we do this? We've already said it a couple times. How do I call the baseball? Ball. 3 loud ones. Get used to doing that. And we're going to practice always like there's a big crowd. Okay, so we get used to an environment that we want to play in, where it's an exciting deal. So ball. Where the take it comes into effect from the other duck in the area is we got 2 ducks that are kind of close. And now the guy that's calling the ball can hear take it, and now he doesn't have to worry about you doing what? Running into him. Okay? So call it as early as you can, but let's go back to the wind issue. Even with this priority system, we got to use common sense sometimes. A guy's camped under the ball, and even though the priority is maybe an outfielder catches it over an infielder. Okay, but if you've got to make an all-out running catch, and we got a duck camp, and he called it first, let's say, or he's just camped, does it make sense to you that we would call that guy off? Okay. In some cases, because of angle, it becomes important. Or in some cases, because guys are tagging up, it becomes important. But not at the expense that we get a guy making an all-out diving catch. Okay? So we don't have wind today. But on days that it's windy at other parks or here, it would be a mistake to call the ball too soon because the wind's going to change where the ball ends up. Okay? For the sake of safety, okay, we've got a rule when the infielders are integrating with the outfielders, and it's that one that's right in between several guys or 2 guys. So we got an infielder going out as fast as he can, we got an outfielder coming in as fast as he can, and now that trust of if you dive for it, potentially what could happen? You both die. We got a major injury. Okay? So we're going to practice today. Our rule is infielders, you stay up high, and outfielders go low. That way we're not, you know, obviously an outfielder can see what's in front of him. Sometimes an infielder gets so caught up in the ball that he doesn't see an outfielder coming in 100%. I'm not trying to scare you, but one of the worst injuries I've ever seen on a baseball field in my 38 years was a pop fly. And it happens to be the head coach at Loyola Marymount right now. It was as bad as it gets. And what happened is his face went against an outfielder's knee, both going full speed. So I've seen, you know, guys get hit, pitch balls, or hit balls. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff over the years. Nothing worse than this. So remember that. And when we practice, you know, you're competing in a game. If we don't use it in practice, then we're not going to remember that when we're competing in the game. We're going to get overly competitive. Okay? So ball, take it, call it as early as you can, and then with the priority system. This guy here is the lowest man on the totem pole. Okay? But that doesn't mean the ball goes up and immediately I'm going to look for help that somebody's going to catch the ball. The flight of the ball, or how high it goes, will tell you, is that my ball or somebody else's? But I think it's extremely weak if the ball goes up and you start looking for help right away. You go after the ball. When somebody calls you off as a pitcher, then what's your second effort? Find an empty base. And this will be prevalent with everybody. I'm a third baseman, and it's this ball right here, let's say. It's going to land right with the green and brown. The shortstop calls me off. Work back to your bag. Don't be lazy. Don't just stand there and watch. Okay? If you've got no other job, and let's say we have wind. Let's say Jake is a pitcher and he's going to let a catcher catch it, and he doesn't have a base to go to. What would be a good thing for Jake in his position right there to do? Get your knees bent and maybe be without negatively influencing the catcher. Be ready, because haven't we all seen the one that goes off the catcher that Jake catches? So it's a take it, but don't just go, oh, is he going to catch it or not? A lot of times, can't you see the catcher's body language? And I challenge the catchers today, but can't you see that they're lost sometimes? They get underneath the ball too soon, hopefully not, but they do. And now they start backpedaling. Okay, they're almost begging at that point for Jake to do what? Call him off. So even though I just said this guy's the lowest priority guy, there are opportunities to pick up a catcher that looks like he's going to drop the ball. Let your instincts take over. And I can assure you, unless it's an ego thing, that when they're lost like this and they hear you say ball, 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 they're going, oh, good, right? And you should be. Even though I'm going to design this today and talk about it like that's your ball, that should be your ball. And I just told you I want you to be big boys today. But be smart also. Get your ego out of the way. Allow somebody that has an easier effort to catch the ball to catch the ball. There's a lot of examples of that. Okay, so lowest priority, I put some cones out. That cone, and if there was a cone probably at where the green and brown comes together, realistically that should be the catcher's range. So I just said that should be their ball, but does that eliminate a first baseman or third baseman if the ball's high enough from getting inside that semicircle from calling them off? And as long as you're not in a full sprint and the ball's bouncing on you because you're in a full sprint, that's an easier play for you, no matter how proficient our catchers are. Okay? So those cones down the lines where umpires stand. Okay? That ball to the or that cone to the fence, whose ball is that? Okay, first baseman. Anything at that cone or to the left as we're looking for it, or deeper, who's that ball? Second baseman. If it gets out too far, it's right fielder. Okay. Same thing on this side. So the third baseman is really between that cone and that cone. That should be your area. First baseman from that cone to that cone. That's my possession. I have that. I'm going to get that one. Okay? Structure. We got screens all the time here when we practice. We got fences. Sometimes it'll be walls. Sometimes it'll be brick. Sometimes it'll be chain link. If you have time and it's high enough and the ball's going to get close to the structure, what's the best way to go about that? Time it and let you and the ball arrive at the same time. Get to the structure early and work off of it. Okay? Catcher's a little thing for you. If it's that low one and you get back to the structure, the best avenue for that is probably to slide. If it's the high one and you're going, is that going to hit the net or not? I take my offhand and I use that. I'm watching the ball. I use that as a set of eyes, like you're a blind man. Instead of just running and going, hitting the fence. Okay? I'll just tell you right now, the one to center field pitchers, the pop up to center field, what's going to happen? It's not real high. Who's going to go after it? Both middle guys. So who has second base? Okay? Who's going to help with that? If the pitcher's dumb and doesn't see that, the catching position. So we're communicating. Okay? So corner guys have priority over pitchers and catchers. Second baseman has priority over the corner guy. Shortstop's the supreme infield commander, where he's got authority over anybody. So if he calls anybody off, work away, get away from it, give him a take it, get away from it, go to a bag. And who's the lead guy in the outfield? Center field. So don't mess with that. Okay? Outfielders over infield. Okay? It's nothing revolutionary. I know you've all heard this before. Key thing is we have athletic pitchers. They can do some things. Give them some credit. Even though we said they're the lowest priority, that's just because we have a system in place. A lot of times, quite frankly, just telling you the truth, from the dugout, I just assume the pitcher catch it than anybody else, depending on who it is. So let's not disrespect this position. Go after it, then call them off if you need to. Anything else?
No, just you're going to hear a lot, especially the outposts, just communication. If you can't get to a ball and you know it's going to land in no man's land, communicate to the infielders, go get it, Painter, go get it. So he can know, because it's
Wouldn't we want to use take it on that?
Well, I mean, whatever.
Take it.
I don't know. I prefer to top. I would be encouraging, just in my own personality, go get it, Painter, go get it. Just talking, because for me, that tells me as I'm running, okay, I can go get it. I don't have to worry about getting run into, or if I dive, I'm going to run into somebody. Does that make sense to you? Because take it, but how far really are you? Like if I'm saying, go get it, I can't get there, whatever you're saying, that's a lot of verbiage. But if you can relay to him verbally that you're not even in the picture, then can't we feel more comfortable going get the ball? That's all I'm saying. Or the guy, it's the ball the third baseman's going back on and you can't get there. Let the guy know that he's got to go get it. I can't get there. Does that make sense? That's all I'm saying.
That's a real important one. Now you don't have to worry about, is he going to remember to go low and I'm going to be high. And you've really freed up an infielder to not worry about hitting his face against your knee, as I just described, which is a real big deal. Because now he can lay out and go for it and he's not worried about the communication system. Another thing, and this will work itself out, outfielders work on this all the time, but just like I said to the catchers down there, you're working to get behind the baseball. So if I'm a catcher, I have to come out a lot of times.
We just got one for sorry. That was today, man. You're on it.
Okay, so get behind the baseball. What we try to avoid from infielders, even if you've made a lifetime of this, we try to avoid the back pedal. Because what's that making my eyes do? Bounce. And that one that you're back pedaling, your hands are harder. You drop that one a lot. So we try to run with the ball inside of us, like an outfielder's trained to do. Open up, cross over, I keep the ball inside of me, and I get behind it. Then I catch the ball coming in. Instead of trail it, back pedal. We've seen catchers do it. I've seen middle guys do it, where they back pedal, and then that's the one that gets away from us. Be in an athletic position and run with the ball inside of you. Because I don't see very many guys drop balls when they're in front. It's that one that takes you back. Okay? The other thing is we're going to highly encourage you to catch the ball right off your nose. Okay? 2 hands is always good. Okay? I know you're going to catch 99 out of 100 or 999 out of 1,000, but 2 hands, and guess what? If it's right over your nose, I don't think except for Coach Kirby a long time ago when hit him on the head, I've never seen a guy drop it. But I see guys get into that style stuff and they take their eye off it and they catch it off to the side. I've seen those drop frequently. So right off your nose, run, keep the ball inside of you, and then we'll use the communication system. All right, let's do it.